Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got something a little bit different to show you, and I'm quite excited about this one because it's different from the two-way radios that I've been reviewing recently. This is the Choyong LC90, and my thanks go to Choyong for sending this one over to me. They thought I might be interested in checking it out, and sure enough I am, because it is something that I wouldn't normally touch, but today we've got it right in front of us right now, and it's quite topical because I'm going on holiday shortly. I'm going over to Bulgaria in Eastern Europe, and I'm looking for a small portable travel radio to take with me to listen to music and news, and even maybe some HF reception as well on the amateur radio bands. And this one does the lot. So you might be thinking you've seen a radio like this one before, because it does look quite familiar, because it is a multiband shortwave receiver. Shortwave receiver with medium wave, FM, and it also has SSB capability, so you can listen into the HF amateur stations and marine traffic and aeronautical stuff across the Atlantic and everything else. So it's quite a versatile radio, but that is not all. This radio is a little bit special because not only does it have the traditional analog AM and FM services, you've also got an internet streamer built inside it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this has over 40,000 radio stations in its directory, so all you need to do is hook it up to Wi-Fi. It works on the 2.4 gigahertz band, so wherever you've got Wi-Fi available, you can listen in to your favourite streamed radio stations. So not only is it a traditional radio, you've got all the internet side of it there, you've got streaming music, radio stations and podcasts as well. So this is what makes this one a little bit different to previous models. And I believe it's been out for the past year or so, and I must admit, Choyong isn't a brand that I've come across before until they contacted me and said, would I be interested in taking a look at this? And, you know, I remember back to the days of Sangean when they were ruling, you know, the world when it came to shortwave portables, and Sony and those kind of makers were doing a lot of these sort of travel-sized, you know, like multi-band receivers, but nothing quite as advanced as this one. I've seen a few come out in the past few years that have been internet and digital audio broadcasting, like DAB, which is a very popular system in Europe. Well, this one doesn't actually have DAB, but it does have the streaming side of it. And I know what you're thinking, you've probably seen some of this kind of thing before, but this is a fusion type radio. It blends together the internet and also the analog side of things too, so that's really nice. Well, if the internet streaming side of it wasn't enough for you, if we flip the radio over, we can also see we have a SIM card slot in there as well. There's also a TF card slot, which is otherwise known as an SD card. You can pop one of those in there. You do need to put one in if you want to do firmware updates, but you can also play music from the TF card that's inserted inside there. But the thing of curiosity to me was the fact that this also has a SIM card slot. So yes, it does have 4G LTE capability built in. So even if you don't have Wi-Fi, if you've got a SIM card, or with or without roaming enabled, you can pop in a SIM and you can be up and running almost anywhere that you've got a cellular data signal. And that is a really cool idea. Now, I looked through the book, and apparently you can also buy data from Choyong. So if you don't want to use a SIM card in the base of this unit, it does have what they call eSIM built inside it too, meaning you can go to the Choyong website and you can also purchase data that way. But I'm not sure of the costs on that, but obviously, you know, that enables global roaming, so you can take this radio almost anywhere in the world and get some kind of connectivity even without Wi-Fi. Although equally, you could tether it to a mobile device like a mobile phone or something like that as well. So I think that is pretty incredible. And I was looking at the price of this unit, and the only bad news for you guys is that it is quite expensive. You're looking at something like about $250 in the US or internationally. And even in the UK, I found this one on Amazon for £235, which seems like an awful lot of money for a radio. But it does boast to be something a little bit unique, something a bit different that you've not seen before. And Choyong are making progress with firmware updates and adding new features to it and functionality. So I'm going to take you through that. I'm not going to talk for hours about everything that's in the radio. I'm going to actually show you actually working on the air shortly, but we'll go through some of the key things. And one of the things about this radio is that it does have an incredibly good sound. It does have a really nice speaker system inside it. So it's got what they call a two-way speaker system, and according to their documentation, it makes excellent sound quality. It's got a bass speaker, a silk dome tweeter and a low frequency diaphragm. So in practice that actually does make it sound really bassy, and I was really surprised. In fact, I was blown away with the audio quality of this unit, and you're going to see that in a minute anyway when we put something through it and some music and some speech, and you can see what I mean about it. The actual display quality is really nice on this radio too. So I'm going to actually just fire it up with a favourite internet station. I'm just going to let it load up. I've connected it to my Wi-Fi in the house, and initially what we're going to do is just going to stream a bit of this radio station. But I'm going to keep the volume down because obviously YouTube copyright doesn't allow us to play music, so we'll find a speech-based station in a minute. But as you can see there, Energy 98 is playing on the radio, and that screen is really nice. It's an IPS screen. It's not a touch screen, but it looks really bright, vivid colours and everything on there as well. So you do get a little icon of the radio station if it's got one available. And I think that's a really, really nice display quality. I did try this outside, which you'll see later on, and you'll notice that the display is quite visible. And although you can't see it here at the moment, these keys are all backlit as well, which is absolutely fantastic. So when it's absolutely dark, you can see that all these start glowing when you touch them. So I think it's a really nice touch for operation in like semi-darkness and everything. It does have an alarm feature in it and the full clock when it's in standby mode as well. So if I just go down to this other radio station here, BBC Radio 5, which I've been to previously, and I can actually turn the volume up on this because it's predominantly speech on this one. And this is streaming over the internet, remember? And let's have a look.
I understand why people want the hotels closed. I want them closed, and I will work across the board to close them as quickly as possible. That is my aspiration. Every one of those hotels closed down as quickly as possible. Well, the way to do that is to work through...
Well, I can't speak about the content, but certainly the clarity is really clear. The speaker in this is absolutely fantastic, and you know, on speech-based programming, it sounds really good too. So I'm really impressed with that. As I say, I'll just turn it up a bit more again.
Been granted asylum in the UK. The Home Secretary Yvette Cooper told MPs she wants the changes in place by next spring. But Conservatives' Chris Philp says it's not
agenda. So near Pyle, in the contraflow, the roadwork section, you've got long queues because there's an accident there. The M4 in...
Listen to that tone quality of the radio. It's really nice, deep, rich audio coming out the built-in speaker. It's obviously only a mono speaker, but it sounds really, really nice.
5, that's after a breakdown. And then we've also...
So the only thing I found is there was no bass or treble controls. It's just automatically adjusted, and it seems to be tuned for the best audio as it stands. It's got a really pleasing sound to it. What I will show you is inside the settings menu up here. So just press that button up there. Takes you into the settings. You can change all the aspects of it, like the Wi-Fi, the SIM card, the backlighting, FM steps, a medium wave, and all the rest of it. Yeah, going through it, version, this is where you would go to check for firmware updates. So you just tap into there and you can see the current version on the screen, and the radio will just check to see if you're using the latest version, which it says we are doing, which is good. So we can just go back out of there. If there was a new version available, it would pop up on the screen and it would prompt us to do the firmware update. But you do need to have a TF card installed in the underside of the radio. And I think the maximum size you can go for is 32 gig, if I'm not mistaken. So that's worth bearing in mind. So all kinds of other stuff in the settings menu there. Just a bit of support information about the websites you can go to if you want some help with this radio too, which is quite good. So if I just pop this down for a second, as you can see, when it's in standby, it goes back to the time and date on the radio. And you can see up there, there's the Wi-Fi symbol bar and also the battery bar as well, which obviously designates how much battery power you've got left. And maybe I should just talk about the battery. On the rear of this unit, you have got this flap, which you need screws to take out. And basically that's two 18650 batteries, I believe, underneath there, which gives you 5000 milliamp hour of battery charge. And the batteries do charge up inside the radio, so you don't really need to go in there unless you're replacing them. And if I just go to the side of the unit, as you can see there, you've got a number of jack sockets. So the top one is for an external antenna jack, for if you're listening on shortwave to improve reception. Sometimes you do need to plug in an external antenna, as you know, with HF. You've got the USB-C port there, and you do get a charge cable in the box for this one. And the only downside that I found is it doesn't seem to work with mobile phone chargers, because it doesn't accept what they call power delivery PD cables or PD chargers. So you might find that you try plugging in a mobile phone charger and it won't work. So you need to use the one that comes supplied in the box generally, or one of the other sort of more simplistic USB-C type charge cables, which is a little bit disappointing, but maybe something that Choyong would take on board for future models as well. And finally, something that a lot of people value, the 3.5mm traditional headphone jack socket as well, or you can go and plug it into an amplifier if you want to get stereo sound as well. So that's something that I'm liking on the side of the radio. You're not having to buy adapters for the USB-C port. You can get audio straight out of this jack down here. And maybe whilst we're here, we ought to talk about these tuning controls on the side of here. Fairly straightforward stuff. The top one is the normal tuning knob, which you rotate like a normal VFO on a radio to tune up or down in frequency. These are used for fine tuning, but obviously on internet radio stations, they just sort of skip through the list of stations you've got up on the screen. And finally, you've got a proper rotary volume control. And there's also an on-off switch down here, but it doesn't fully stop the radio. To turn it off, you've got to hold down that red key up there, the power button, to actually shut down the power to the system completely. So that's something to bear in mind as well. On the other side of the radio, there's nothing else on here apart from a attachment for a lanyard strap kind of thing up there. And on top of the unit, you have got a telescopic antenna which needs to be extended for the HF and FM side of the reception, which I will show you in the later point in the video. But before we go any further, I think this box here needs an award as well, because this is one of the nicest bits of packaging that I've seen with a unit for quite some time. So if I just put the radio back over there a second, the LC90 box would win an award on its own, I think. So if I just pop the lid off this one, as you can see inside there, you've got the little instruction book that helps you get started, like a quick start manual, and it tells you what all the buttons do on the radio and how to use the different features. Very nice, comprehensive, well written, good quality English in there as well, and a few little diagrams on things you can do, like scanning a QR code to add custom URLs to the radio streaming side of things too. So not only can it receive 40,000 internet radio stations, you can add your own custom streams. If your favourite radio station is missing, you can go and add it in there using your mobile device by scanning a QR code, which is a really cool idea as well. So apart from that, you don't really get a lot in the box. You do get a USB-C charge cable, which can also double up as a power supply for the radio if you plug it into your charger. But like I say, it doesn't work with PD cables, so you've got to use this one really, unless you've got any others kicking around. You might find some of your cables don't actually work, so the best policy is to use the cable that comes in the box with the radio. And there was also this lanyard strap thing, or wrist strap, and I haven't attached it to the radio. I don't really see the need for it, but you've got one of these here as well, which you can loop through as well, like you get with a lot of two-way radios and things, to travel kind of radios and things like that. So that's quite good. But that is it. So the contents of the box are really sparse. Like I say, just the USB-C cable and the user guide, and of course the radio itself. What would I have liked to have seen included in here? Well, for the amount of money that you're paying for this radio, I think it would have been nice. And bearing in mind it's such a nice piece of kit, I think it'd be nice if Choyong had included a leather carry case or something, to protect the radio. Because at the moment I've got no case with this one. You can go on Choyong's website and you can buy a custom case that fits this perfectly, but that's another $20 plus shipping. And I just feel that for the price of the radio, they could include the case with it. So Choyong, maybe in the future, maybe bundle the case with the radio. I think that'd be a really, really good addition. It does have rubberized feet to protect the radio on the underside. It does all feel nice. It has a premium feel to the plastics used in the radio as well. And it's, like I say, it's only 650 grams, so it's very light for travel. So some of the cool internet features on this radio include the ability to just simply search by the directory that's built in. So if we just press the music note button on here, we can just do a search for radio stations nearby, and it uses some kind of geolocation to work out where you are, and it comes up with popular radio stations within your area. So I'm assuming that a lot of these radio stations are UK based at the top of the list, because it seems to have put on radio 1, 2 and 3. And then there's a whole load of other stuff down there, Capital FM London, because I'm in the UK, so I think it's sorted into that kind of order there. You can also press the tag button down here, and what this does is it lets you sort by genre, for example. So if you're interested in a particular style of music like rock, we just push that button there, and it'll start going through radio stations in the directory. Now, I don't know where it gets its directory list from. There seems to be quite a lot of choice inside this, but I don't know which provider it uses or which database online to retrieve all these radio stations. If anybody knows, please leave a comment below the video. I'd be interested to know myself. You can add custom stream URLs to this, which is quite good, but you can literally listen to any radio station that comes up in the list. There's absolutely loads of them there. You can just press that button and then of course it loads, providing the radio station's online. And it doesn't take long. Normally it's pretty quick at loading up, and there you go. There you are. That's the radio station streaming away there. So that's great if you're in another country and you want to listen to your favourite radio station. You can just go into here and find it on the list. So the tag function is really, really good. You can sort by genre, but what if you want a specific radio station? Well, here we go. Let's just try another of the genres on there and have a look down. I'm into dance music, so I like to have a listen through some of these. And you might discover quite a few new stations. I think they're sorted in order of popularity, maybe. They don't seem to be in any particular order. Certainly, there is an awful lot to go through, and it's really quick actually searching the database. And it loads about 70 or 80 stations at a time, then just a quick pause and it goes on and retrieves more on the list as well. But one feature they added in the firmware is voice recognition as well. So if you know the radio station you want to listen to, you can just push down this language button down here. You just hold it down and say the name of the radio station. So I'm going to try this now. So watch what happens on the screen. BBC Radio 4. And then it goes away to cloud and it should hopefully retrieve the station. There we are, look, BBC Radio 4, and it's come up in the list, in the directory. How cool is that? So it's found Radio 4 and Radio 4 Extra. And all you did then is push this button on the side of here, and then the radio station should load up. So we'll give that a try, see if it's got the right station. There you go, BBC Radio 4.
Low incomes, particularly in that period shortly after they've been granted.
So it is a significant change. What I want to know is have they only just thought of this? Is this a...
Wow, and there you go, you can see, you can actually skip through the list of stations as well. You can press this forward or backwards list, so you can literally jump from one station to another and it'll go to the next one down in the list as well, so you don't have to keep going back into the list every time. So it is really cool how they've done that, and the voice recognition does seem fairly accurate, which is something that I was surprised about. There you go, you see, look, and underneath here you've got the history of where you've been. BBC Radio 4, and this one is Real Radio, which is the next station up in the list and everything. So
who delivered the note? Almost certainly the postman, sir. I made inquiries. Kerwin received a letter yesterday by the afternoon.
So I think it's really nice as just a radio you can just sit down on the table and relax and listen to, you know, without too much fuss. And I really like the idea of the language search. And likewise, there is also a news button down here, so you can press news and you can listen to world news from all different radio stations. So it just takes a second or two to retrieve them from the internet, and there you go. Any radio station that is classified as news just gets put into this list. Again, I don't think they're in any particular order, maybe just in order of popularity within your region. I'd imagine if you try this in another country, depending on your IP address, it'll come up with different radio stations in the directory. So I think that's really good, but as you can see, it seems to work really well.
Or curtailing scientific appropriation. However, none of these have secured the necessary report.
I think the one thing that struck me about the radio is the size of it, really, and the tone quality. It's deep, it's rich. I really like that side of it. But of course, there's more to it than just the internet. But you know, certainly on the internet streaming side, you can't fault it at all. One more thing as well, podcast button. You can search podcasts, my podcasts, you can add them to it yourself, and you can go by genre. So you can click on technology, say, for example, which is what we're interested in, and we should be able to get a list of technology podcasts as well. You can also search for it using a language search as well, in a similar way that we did to the the radio station streaming. And yeah, this is just amazing. I just think it's really good how you can just scroll through this and find thousands and thousands of stations and podcasts and everything. So Choyong are doing a really good job when it comes to that kind of thing. Now, something I do want to talk about briefly is the FM radio portion of this, because this is absolutely fantastic. To my mind, this is probably one of the best implementations on FM RDS that I've seen, because Choyong has spent a lot of time making the FM section really, really cool. And what I mean by that is it contains an RDS receiver. So basically you get the name of the radio station on the screen when you're tuned into FM, as long as the radio station supports it, which more or less all the radio stations in the world tend to do these days. Program identity number. You've got scrolling text which shows what's currently being played on the radio station. Like a lot of radio stations show the current track that they're playing, and information like website URLs and things like that. And also up here you've got a signal meter, signal to noise ratio, and the signal strength. Doesn't show a bar graph. It'd be nice if it did kind of do that as well, but it gives you technical information about the signal to noise ratio up here. But as you can see there, this is a radio station I've got programmed in here locally. 102.4, it's one of the local greatest hits stations. And yeah, it works flawlessly. The RDS implementation is really, really good, which you'll see later on when I'm out and about with the radio. I take it outdoors and do a demo of this. And if you wanted to, you can store all local radio stations in a preset. You just hold down FM, and basically it does a scan around the entire band. And it does cover the lower FM portion of the band as well. I think it starts at about 65 megahertz. So some stations in Europe still use the lower FM broadcast portion, and this goes all the way up to 108 megahertz. So you're covered right the way around the world. So it is a truly global radio. Now, just before I show you the clips of this working outdoors, I just wanted to explain about the keypad. You have got direct frequency entry on this as well, which makes it really useful. So if you wanted to type in a given frequency like 7100 on the HF spectrum, you can just type that in and the radio just automatically tunes to that. So that's basically direct frequency entry. So that makes the radio very usable across the HF spectrum. So if you know the frequency you want to go to, just type it in on the keypad and the radio shifts and changes over to that as well. Now, when you're in shortwave mode in AM, it assumes you're wanting to listen to broadcast stations, and you can then push this button on the side here with selectable bandwidth, and this one up here on this side at the very top, you can choose the meter band for the broadcast station. So you just cycle all the way through them. It's flashing up there, 60 meter band, 75 meter band, and you just rotate this dial and it jumps to the start of the broadcast band for each one of those areas, which makes it very, very good for anybody who's into listening to shortwave broadcast stations. So I just thought I'd point those two things out. You'll see the full demo in a second anyway, but it is really easy to navigate around on the HF spectrum using that keypad and the rotary controls on the side of there. Right, well, here's the Choyong LC90 outdoors, and we're up in North Yorkshire. Look at that fantastic view there. This is overlooking Filing Dales up in North Yorkshire from the edge of Dalby Forest. And I've just got the radio on the bench, just on the telescopic antenna, as you can see there, just fully extended. So we're going to see if we can get anything on the radio, on the sideband, on amateur radio side of things. So I'm on the 20 meter band. So we're going to attempt to have a listen in and see if we can get anything on the stock antenna. I do have a long wire with me, but I'm going to try just on the built-in antenna. The signals seem quite strong this afternoon, so let's just turn up the volume and see what we get. I've got a microphone pointing towards the radio so we can see what the audio quality is like on SSB.
QRZ, Oscar Mexico, number 1, Romeo Italy. Romeo Uniform 6, Denmark X-ray. Radio United 6 Delta X-ray, thank you for the call, 59. Okay, Marcel, thanks so much. You 59 as well. My name is Valery, 73. 73, QRZ, Oscar Mexico, number 1, Romeo Italy. Oscar November 5, Charlie Queen, thank you for the call, 59. QSL, you 59 plus 10, the last over. Have a nice end of the weekend, 73. QRZ, Oscar Mexico, number 1, Romeo Italy.
Well, it certainly receives SSB okay, no complaints there with the audio, it sounds pretty good really. You don't have adjustable AGC on this radio, it's just all preset, but you have got a fine tune on this side, so if you look around the corner here, that's your fine tuning on when it's in SSB mode. And up top of here, if I just press this button here in the centre as well, it also doubles up as bandwidth for filter, so you can go all the way down. That's 2.2 kilohertz. Press it again. There you go, 3 kilohertz. And that's your widest filter there at 4 kilohertz as well. I think the best audio seems to be around 3 kilohertz for the best quality audio, getting too hissy. But this guy's in Slovakia and he's coming in really good. I can hear the stations he's working as well. So I've got a long wire with me today. I've got 50 metres of wire, so I've just chucked that out on the bench, and I've got the 3.5mm adapter here. Let's just plug it in and see what happens, see if we get any better signals. So I don't think it's really made it that much better, to be honest with you. What I've noticed is we're getting a lot more noise and intermod. I think like some strong broadcast stations are coming in. I'm hearing a little bit of music in the background as well. So I think if anything the receiver's overloaded with the long wire. So sometimes it pays you just to try the telescopic and see how that goes. So if I just pull this out again, I think that's working better personally. Let's see if we can find anybody else then on the band. So as you can hear, it's working well. Let's try the 40 metre band. I don't know if there's anybody going to be down there at the moment. I don't know what the band conditions are like currently. We need to go to LSB obviously, so we press the shortwave button once and the radio switches over modes. It just takes a second, there you go. We're in LSB. Let's go back to the top control.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, so you're picking around 5 and 7 actually now looking, but yeah, it's good. No problems at all, nice audio, nice punchy audio. Yeah, I'm just using my ST891 out in the garden, so I just thought I'd put a call out, see who was about. So there we are. I wonder if you're on your 9700 band there, Tom, go ahead. Yeah, I'm just on the icon.
Let's try this again, see if it makes any difference.
Yeah, I won't hold it. Because there's another net, the IRC net going to join. So yeah, I'll just turn you that out.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of difference like on the 40 metres. Not overloading too much.
Yeah, no, it's nice to hear you, Tom. 7-3, and maybe we'll catch up again.
I think to be quite honest though, the telescopic's doing just as well really, you know, considering.
G4IYT.
G4IYT, G7HMV. Looks like 2 metres of years gone by.
Yeah, G7HMV, G4IYT. Yeah, really right at the back of the box for me, Matt. Probably only just readable over the noise, but I thought I'd just come in and give you that signal report all the same. Probably about 3 and 3 with me. I won't hold it though because it's going to be a difficult copy, but nice to hear you on G7HMV, G4IYT.
Yeah, okay, no problem. We're obviously receiving better than getting out then, because you're a good 5 and 8, 58 with me, so no problems at all. Anyway, 7-3 Matt, nice to hear you, and I'll leave you to carry on. G7HMV.
Yeah, 73 Matt, take care.
Ham station in York, I don't know his call sign. But unfortunately, Simon Key, a couple of years now, his name was John. I haven't had surname or anything either, Paul, but his name was John. Anyway, just wanted to start rings a bell with you, back to you.
Yeah, okay there, Tom. I'm not sure who you're actually speaking about there, Tom, but yeah, okay, you're coming down to the city. Well, I hope you enjoy yourself there, Tom. Might be a bit tricky going up to I don't know if you're driving or going on train or bus, etc. But with the fires we have at the moment, Whitby's a bit tricky, over.
Oh yes, Paul, yeah.
So these guys are really, really strong on 40 metres, excellent audio as well. And this is just on the telescopic, remember. I've not even bothered connecting up the long wire that I brought with me, because there's really no need for it. The signals are that strong on 40 and 20 right now, the band's fully open. And this is the kind of audio you can expect from the Choyong LC90. To me, it sounds absolutely great quality through the built-in speaker. A little bit of a raspy tone at the top end, but I think that's down to the AGC levels. Now, I don't know if Choyong are going to make adjustable AGC in the future. You can maybe customise that a little bit more. But to me, the radio sounds really, really good as it stands. And I think with just a little few more tweaks in the firmware, because it's obviously like SDR based in that respect, you know, you can actually tell just from the programmable filters. If we just have a listen to this again, and just adjust the kilohertz on the bandwidth, have a listen and see what I mean. Well, that's max on SSB 4 kilohertz, and so that to me sounds really good. But obviously you're hearing other stations coming in at the top end, you know, because the band's quite crowded, so you can hear that high-end noise. If we knock the filter back,
mostly fine all day, very blustery.
And then we're down to 2 kilohertz. Obviously the speech gets a little bit more compressed, but you've lost any sort of adjacent channel interference.
The couple of light showers, but that's about it. Like most of the day's been fine.
I think the sweet spot's 3 kilohertz on this radio, for sure.
Right, Paul. I better get onto this, my local club network here.
I think the audio is really good though. That's on LSB, so it does have dedicated LSB and USB reception there. That's really good.
All the best for the rest of the activation.
Signal up there, signal to noise ratio.
Yeah, okay.
It'd be nice if it had like a real signal meter of some sort, but you know, it's got that anyway, so that's not bad.
All the best. Good signal 5 and 9 on your last transmission.
I am actually more impressed than I thought I would be when I first got the radio. You know, I thought it was just a novelty, but the SSB is actually quite good with this last firmware update.
And then I'll call it a day.
And that's without, you know, using any of these other features that this portable radio offers.
Mike Zero, Alpha Bravo, Germany. Mike Zero, AVG, coming Andy, over. Hiya, Paul. Colossal signal from you tonight, 25 over. Trust you well.
Right, let's do a bit of broadcast shortwave listening. I just got the radio set up here. Beautiful sound quality coming out even on shortwave. As you know, around the world people still listen to shortwave radio stations, and this is on the AM mode. Have a listen to this. This is coming on the telescopic again. And as you'll notice, when you're in shortwave mode, just on the AM side of things, it's got like the meter band. So we're listening on the 25 meter broadcast band, so it's got these presets in here, and you can just push this button here and you can rotate the dial and you can change which meter band you're on. So you don't need to remember where the shortwave broadcast bands are, you can just simply push that button, which is good. And of course, if you want to save a station, you can always press the favourites button up here, and it goes red on the display down there. It's got a little heart symbol. So you've saved that radio station into the memories on shortwave. That's one way of doing it. There's all sorts you can do really, but now these stations are coming in from around the world, so I mean this one's fading in and out a little bit, but really good. Let's just keep tuning. The tone quality in the radio is pretty impressive, really. Yeah.
我想剪头发。你想怎么剪？修一下就可以了。好的，请先洗头。对话2。我想染头发。
End-stoppingly strong shortwave radio stations anyway. This is just in the 25 meter band at the time of day, and what time is it? It's 20 past 6 now in the evening, and we're getting these coming through. As you can see, really great tone quality coming out of the built-in speaker. You could probably spend a long time going through these. I'm just going to try going up to another of the bands. Maybe, I don't know how open some of these the bands are. The 21 meter band possibly. There are some more stations coming in. Basically, higher bands during the daytime you want to be looking at if you're into shortwave, and probably the lower bands when it starts getting darker. That's how the propagation works generally. So on an evening you want to be tuning further down on the lower bands. But right now we've got another hour and a bit of daylight, maybe. It's getting dark about 8 o'clock at this time of day. This time of year, should I say. So that's pretty good. You can scan around and it will find things itself as well, but I'm just enjoying scanning.
Turn absolutely, you know, it's like playing tennis against the wall. He just seems to be able to return absolutely anything, and then when he is actually on form and hitting his strokes, he really is just.
I really can't fault the audio quality coming through this Choyong. It's got a great speaker system. Everything about it is just great tone quality. There is no bass and treble control that I can see in the software. It's just tuned to sound good. So with the built-in speaker system on here, it's one of the best sounding shortwave radios I've ever tried. And when you take into account, we could also be using those internet radio features here as well, which we haven't even touched because we're not going to do that today. We're out in the countryside here. we're going to use no internet. We're just going to go with the old analog methods, and it's great. It sounds really good.
Action for Arena Sabalenka.
And now a small bit of medium wave reception. Now some people have criticised the radio I see online for not very good medium wave reception, but I'm finding this is pretty good. There's two modes on this, indoor and outdoor. As you can see, it says outdoor on the display up there at the moment. And if I press indoor, I lose the station. If I press outdoor, everything seems to work just fine there. And that's radio 5, possibly, I think 909. Our medium wave stations, what's left of in the UK, are on 9 kilohertz steps. So I've set it in the menu to 9 kilohertz stepping. So we can get. It doesn't seem as sensitive on the medium wave, that's for sure, but there's another. Yeah, 1089. I just wonder if moving it around, if it's like ferrite based. I don't think it is there particularly, but yeah, it's not really that much on the medium wave, but we are hearing them. Seems okay. I don't know if plugging in my long wire antenna that I brought with me would work any better. Let's try it. Didn't really seem to make much difference. I didn't think it would do though. No, I'd rather use it without, I think. So that's your medium wave anyway. It does work, but better up on the higher frequency bands for sure. Alright, so let's move on to FM broadcast stations. Well, as you can see, the radio is now in the FM mode, and this radio is really comprehensive when it comes to FM listening. If you like a bit of FM DX or just listening to your local FM stations, you're in for a treat, because this radio has a full RDS implementation. And as you can see up there, it shows the program type, as in this case on here it says classic rock. Program identifier, that's the broadcast identifier on the RDS system. The station identity, like BBC Radio 3 on this one. And underneath here it's got the scrolling text as well, so it's a really good implementation of the RDS system, one of the best I've seen. And if you're into a bit of FMDX, like when the conditions are up and you get tropospheric ducting, we live near the coastline, so quite often the conditions in the autumn time are actually very good in terms of tropospheric ducting. And we do get German and Dutch radio stations coming in, and that's one of the best things about it. You can identify stations when you've got the RDS function. If the signal's strong enough, it'll get a lock onto it. And I can't actually play some music through this because obviously we've got YouTube copyright to think about, but I can show some other radio stations with speech on and everything. But the audio quality from the built-in speaker is absolutely superb on the FM side. So if you wanted to do a quick scan of the band, all you do is hold down the FM key and the radio will start scanning all the way through the FM broadcast band. So we'll just give that a second to go all the way through to the end, and it should allegedly scan and put them into some temporary memories for us, so we can actually flick through after it's done that scan. So it says comprehensive in the top corner there. And what we'll see in a second is it should, there we go, it should stop and it should go through. I think that was Radio 2 possibly in this one. If we give it a second, it says country up there on the display, hasn't got the name of the station in yet. Sometimes it takes a few seconds to go through. It depends if it's actually strong enough as well. There we go. It's got something coming in. I don't think it's a very strong signal, that one, so we'll go back to that. But yeah, there you go, BBC Radio 4. We should be safe on that one too. Have a listen.
People, powerful figures. I've never had and also I play guitar, you see, so I could sit and play with them.
Listen to the audio quality from that on the built-in speaker, absolutely fantastic.
And Deep Purple would come, and everybody, Dave Edmunds would come in and play, and we'd all, sit around and play.
In 1979, Monty Python reconvened for The Life of Brian, and of course George.
So there you go, BBC Radio 4. It's gone and stored all these. You see it says Channel 4 there, so it's actually gone and popped some memories in for us just by doing a scan. There's BBC Radio 1. Yeah, and it'll show you the program identity for each one. So I think this would be a really good DX radio for when the conditions are up and everything. So really good look, classic program type nostalgia. So as you can see, FM broadcast band, really good stuff. One of the best implementations of the RDS system I've seen. There we are, heart country music, and I really like the scrolling text option as well. When you give it a few seconds, it starts doing the DLS scrolling text down there and everything. And there you go, you can see what's on there. And currently what is playing on the radio too. So FM Broadcast, really, really good too. Quite impressed with that. So you've seen the clips outside of this radio, and I think it performed really, really well considering. There was some overload when I connected up an external antenna to the unit, so I would recommend, wherever possible, don't use an external antenna. I did throw out a long wire, like 50 feet of wire, and of course it absolutely blew up the front end on the shortwave side of things and actually made reception worse. And I did get better results through the stock telescopic antenna, because this radio is actually very sensitive. So I'd probably recommend using it without an external antenna wherever possible. Obviously, if you're in an area with weak signals, then you can plug in a bit of wire, maybe not too long, and that might boost up your reception capabilities. But on the whole, I found the audio from the unit quite pleasing, and I think with the most recent firmware update from Choyong, it's actually made the radio a lot more usable. Medium wave performance really wasn't the best, but I'd say that the radio is really designed for shortwave reception. Like I say, you've got that sort of HF bands all the way through, right up to the higher frequencies. And it did work respectably well on the 40 metre and 20 metre amateur bands that I tested it out on. Obviously conditions were quite good at the time yesterday, but you know, I really enjoyed listening to it, and I honestly thought the SSB reception might be a bit of a gimmick, but having listened to it for a good hour or two yesterday, you know, I was quite impressed with how things were going. So on the whole, I'd rate this radio quite highly. If you're a medium wave reception person, then maybe not, but certainly for the shortwave and casual listener, and I know that I'm going to enjoy taking this on holiday with me and tuning around while I'm sat out on the balcony, hopefully in the sunshine in Bulgaria. Fingers crossed the weather actually improves. I've had to look at the weather forecast and it doesn't look too good at the moment, but we'll see anyway. But yeah, this is a radio for travel, that is for sure. It really is a truly global unit, and I'm grateful for Choyong for sending this one over. A couple of other things I just wanted to mention about it is that it does say in the documentation it uses ChatGPT to actually locate you know, music and podcasts and things like that. So when you do the voice search, it's supposed to go out and query ChatGPT apparently. But one thing I discovered is that you can search for specific music tracks as well. So you can hold down the menu key, and if you hold that down, it goes back into voice recognition mode, and you can ask it to search for a particular track of music. So I just wanted to demonstrate this, and I don't know how this actually works, because you know, it's actually getting music from the internet and streaming it onto this. So I don't know where the copyright sort of situation lies upon that, but it was finding full tracks, you know. So I was really impressed. I'll just give you a quick demonstration. Hold it down. David Guetta, Titanium. So if we just let it search for that, and it goes out to presumably ChatGPT and does some kind of voice query, there you go, look. And it's come up with all these tracks, look, from David Guetta. And you can actually search through it and then just click one of them. And if I just tap that one and see if it'll play, obviously I'm not going to play it in the video because we're going to get a copyright strike if we do. But sure enough, it's there. And let's just quickly flick the volume up. Wow, I mean, it's actually playing. And I don't know where it's getting it from, but that's quite a smart little feature that you can even listen to music on it. So not only internet radio, podcasts, you can often find popular music on there as well. I don't know how it'd work with something a bit more obscure. That was obviously a pop kind of dance track, but it certainly seemed to work. So I was kind of blown away with that feature when I discovered it by accident when I was playing with the radio the other night. So that's a good one. But yeah, on the whole, Choyong LC90 is a quite polished package now, and I think after all the firmware updates that have been coming out, the radio is actually getting better. So, you know, if you were sort of holding out for this one and you'd seen some of the reviews on it, then it might be worth trying, especially if you can get a decent price on the radio. But there is one thing that's kind of like, you know, bugging me. I was thinking that the SD card could be used for more things, or the TF card as they call it. It'd be nice if you could schedule a recording on the radio, so you could record whatever you hear on the radio onto the SD card inside this for playback later on. Now that'd be a really cool feature if it could do that, because I used to have a Pure radio years ago that used to be able to do that kind of thing, and you could like schedule it to record a program at a certain time every day or every week, and it would do that for you. And I think Choyong are missing a trick there. I think this would be a really cool idea if they could do it. So Choyong, if you're listening, put some sort of recording feature into it. I think that'd be really good, or maybe in the next generation of radio too. Okay, let's try the Bluetooth functionality very briefly. So I'm going to press the BT key on here. I've got my mobile phone over here, so I'm going to go straight to Bluetooth pairing. And there you go, it says BT opened, waiting to connect. And in a second, we can see that on the list, we've got the Choyong LC90 on the screen there. So I'm going to try tapping the connect on here for the radio. There you go, BT connected. It's just connected up to the radio, no bother at all. And I'm now going to go into BBC Sounds app and play Radio 5. So hopefully, in a second, here we go.
Eastbound Junction 11. Want a merchant to bike life travel? It's the pinnacle of women's rugby union.
I like this little symbol while it's rotating around like a record going around on here when it's connected onto some device for streaming. So that is your Bluetooth functionality, it works perfectly. So you've also got a Bluetooth speaker with you when you travel as well. So I don't know about you, but I think this is a really versatile package along with all the other functionality in this radio. So it's a really cool little feature, a little bonus in there as well. That it's nice that the Bluetooth works well too. Well, that about wraps it up for this video. Thanks very much for watching and bearing with me. I know it's a long video, but there is so many features packed into this little unit that it's unbelievable. And I've probably forgotten half the things that I was going to say about the unit, but you get the idea. It is extremely versatile and it is quite a unique piece of kit as well. I've not seen anything quite like it before, with the fusion between the internet radio and the podcast and everything else, along with the traditional HF, shortwave, AM and medium wave reception. It does deserve a look at, that's for sure. So if you guys are interested, I will leave some links in the description to where you can purchase this from. You can get it from Amazon in the UK and direct from Choyong if you're looking at it internationally. The only reservation I have is the price of the unit. It is quite an expensive piece of kit, but I suppose when you consider all the different things it does, including the 4G functionality, then it makes it a little bit sweeter. However, there is a couple of things I'd like to say. One, please Choyong, include a case with this. If you're spending this much money on the radio, you want to look after it, you want to keep it looking nice and pristine. And the other thing I thought of at the last minute was, you know, on some of my older radios, they used to have stands on the back of them. Like if you flip this one around, you've got no stand on this. You can't sort of angle it. So if you wanted it down on the desk at say a 45-degree angle or something like that, you can't do it unless you create yourself a stand or something. And a lot of the old shortwave radios used to have a little flap on the back of them that you could pull down, and you could actually sit them properly, so you could use it at the desk and enjoy your music and everything and type in on the keypad and that and tune around on the bands. It'd be nice if Choyong had included some kind of stand in this as well, or some kind of flap on the back of the radio. So maybe in the future, a design consideration possibly on that one. As I say, I can't really say too much negative about it. It does overload if you plug it into a big antenna system, but for the majority of people using it with a telescopic antenna, I think this is a real winner. And I'm trying to keep this radio away from my wife, who keeps trying to steal it because she likes listening to dance music and stuff, and she loves the internet radio side of things. So I think I've already lost this one. After the review, I think it's going to go missing, to be quite honest with you. But, you know, it's good that it's a product that people actually want to use. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching and supporting the channel, and I will see you in the next video.